I was between the ages of 14 and 17 when this was happening. My name is Philip Gans. I was born in Amsterdam, Holland. I lived with mom and dad, a brother 2 years older, a sister 5 years older, and occasionally grandma used to spend time with us. However, things changed. May 1940, the Germans invaded Holland. Not long after they invaded in 1939 Poland, 40 signs went up, prohibited for Jews. Whenever you walked out the house, the Star of David had to be sewn on your outer clothing. We were not allowed to go any beaches, no libraries, no cinemas. Next, we had ID cards. Notice the J? During the summer of '42, there was a razzia. That meant the Nazis went from house to house and took the people out their house. However, since we were in business, we had signs on the windows. They thought it was a business, they passed us by. That same summer, Dad received notice to report to Germany. He had no intentions of going. That means we had to go into hiding. A lady dressed as a nun came to the house and took me to the northern part of Holland. There I stayed with a farmer. However, on a Friday afternoon, a man on a bicycle said to the farmer, "You better get rid of Philip." So the next day, Saturday morning, he took me to Amsterdam. He took me to a Jewish orphanage. Being it was Saturday, the Jews don't do business on the Sabbath, so they wouldn't take me. Again, I was fortunate because all Jewish orphanages were emptied, the kids were taken to camps, gassed and cremated, or used for medical experiments. Mom and Dad were hiding in The Hague, so he took me to The Hague. Now there's 4 of us in the house. The lady didn't want that many people. And I remember I had a cold, I was coughing. So they had to find somebody else for me. They took me to this family, husband and wife, 2 daughters. Well, and now you must remember, if the Nazis had caught us at their house, they would have gone to a camp too. So they risked their life. Mom, Dad, and Grandmom, my brother and sister were hiding in another little town with a lady that ran a guest house. And Mom wanted the family complete. I was the only one missing. So I went over there around June 1943. On my dad's birthday, July the 24th, 1943, I went to bed. I heard footsteps on the gravel. But as I looked down, I saw the Nazis were there. A few minutes later, the Nazis walked in, made us get dressed. They took us to a camp in Holland, a transit camp called Westerbork. We had no clue that we were going to concentration camps. Nobody ever heard the word concentration camp. We were put in a barrack, surrounded by barbed wire, within a camp surrounded by barbed wire. Finally, on August the 24th, 1943, they loaded 1,001 prisoners on cattle cars. Then we arrived at a place, the doors opened up, and they hollered, "Arouse, arouse, get out, get out." It was chaos. People brought with them a suitcase, blankets, rubber boots, whatever they were told. They were not allowed to take that with them. They took all the men and pushed them on one side and all the women to the other side. One by one, the men had to walk in front of a Nazi officer, and he took one look at you and flicked his finger, forming a new group to his left, or sent you to the right with the women. When it was father's turn, to the left. When it was my brother's turn, to the left. When it was my turn, he hesitated. Later on, I realized he figured, is this kid old enough to work? I'm only 15 years old. He went this way. Had he gone this way, I wouldn't be standing here today, because all the women, children, and people who were chosen to go to the right, they were marched straight to the gas chambers, gassed and cremated. Now again, they did not know they were going to go to the gas chamber. They were given a bar of soap and told, "You're going to get a shower and be disinfected." We were loaded in trucks and taken to another camp, Auschwitz III, a slave labor camp. But when we arrived there, there was the biggest shock of our life. We had to get undressed, lost all our clothing, pictures, wallets, everything. Shoes, we had nothing. They issued us wooden shoes with a cloth top, uniforms like you see I'm wearing now. Our hair was shaven, and the number you see here is tattooed on my forearm. From here on in, my name was not Phil Gans, but 159.755. We sleep in bunk beds, 3 high, 2 together. A bed consisted of a straw mattress, a straw pillow, and a blanket. Starvation was a permanent guest at Auschwitz. The diet fed to the IG Auschwitz image, which included the famous Boone soup, a nutritional aid not available to other prisoners, resulted in an average weight loss for each individual of about 6.5 to 9 pounds a week. At the end of the month, the change in the prisoner's appearance was marked. At the end of 2 months, the images were not recognizable except as caricatures formed of skin, bones, and practically no flesh. After 3 months, they were either dead or so unfit for work, they were marked for release to the gas chamber at Birkenau. We washed ourselves the best we could, dried ourselves with our clothes, went back to the parade ground. They lined us up by block number. The block leader counts, make sure everybody is there, calls the Nazis, and when everybody is accounted for, we're assigned to a capo. A capo will take 200-300 people out to work. We march out the gate, we sing German songs. The band is playing, the band is made up of prisoners. And this is the place we were working. When we get to work, we get all the dirty work. There's plenty of people working there. Women from Ukraine, Russia, POWs from England, many civilians. We get all the dirty work. Railroad cars with bags of cement. 2 guys put a bag of cement on your shoulder, you walk a while and 2 guys take it off. Should you drop the bag, there's a Nazi there kicking you. Aufstehen, get up, get up. Now you work all day long and you're skinny like that. Another job was carrying rails. They were still laying railways. 5 men to a rail. Another job was the cold commando, punishment commando. One day coming back from work, I couldn't find my brother. I said, Dad, where's Benjamin? He had been too weak to work and had sent him to the gas chambers. Can you imagine how my father must have felt? In 43, he lost his wife, his daughter, and his mother-in-law. And now in 44, he lost his oldest son. Once a month, there were selections. Naked, you had to walk in front of a doctor, the block leader, and a Nazi officer. And if they felt you were too weak to work or you didn't walk properly, they asked for your number. And you knew that the next day you were off to the gas chambers. I saw a triple hanging. As a reminder, if you try to escape, this is what's going to happen to you. In camp, you had to wear a cap. But when you came to the barrack, you had to take it off. Whether my dad was cold or forgot to take it off, he had it on and he got a beating. And I remember so clearly, next time we came into the barrack, he grabbed his head, crumbled it up, afraid to get another beating. Here's a 46-year-old man, successful businessman, is treating worse than a dog. I mean, they were, if you imagine 10 times worse than what I'm telling you, you'll never comprehend all those people that suffered for months and years and finally died anyway. On January 18th, 1945, unbeknown to me, the Russians were coming and they moved us. We walked all day, probably a 10-hour walk from Monowitz to Gleiwitz 2. In Gleiwitz, they put us in barracks for several days. In the midst of the winter, with an open cattle car, you had to go to the bathroom, you straddled the boxcar. If somebody died, we took the top coat off, threw the body overboard. The Nazis would shoot at it thinking somebody's trying to escape. The train moved on, and we came to Mauthausen. Now, we had to get out. Those of us who could come out could walk. We climbed out the boxcar, but there were many that could only crawl. They crawled and fell in front of the boxcar, one on top of the other. We followed the Nazis, and they turned around, the camp is closed. Now I got to climb over those half-dead bodies, their eyes rolling, the hands and faces purple. Have to climb over there to get back in the boxcar. That was probably the most ugly sights I ever remember seeing. The train takes off again and we wind up in Oranienburg. Oranienburg is a subcamp of Sachsenhausen, like Monowitz was a subcamp of Auschwitz III. A Belgian boy had a stomachache and he didn't want to go to work, so I stayed with him in the barracks. The Nazis pulled us out, put us over a wooden bench, and gave us 25 lashes with a rubber hose. After the first or second one, you straighten up, they hit you over the head so you go down again, 25 times. They asked me if I could work, I said yes. They asked the Belgian boy, he said he still had a stomachache. They kicked him. When they were finished with him, he was bleeding all over, and I saw it with my own eyes. And that's the worst beating I ever got, the 25 lashes. Finally, on April the 16th, 1945, they put us in cattle cars again, some open, some closed. I was in an open one. I can still see the Nazis with the rifle across the lap. And the train takes off, and from nowhere come the Allied planes and start shooting at us. And I remember leaving the boxcar when a bullet hit the wooden floor of that boxcar. A lot of people got killed and severely wounded there. The train never left. Another young boy and I, we went to the gates because we were going to march. The term Death March was probably coined by concentration camp prisoners. It referred to forced marches of prisoners over long distances under heavy guard and extreme harsh winter conditions. During these death marches, SS guard brutally mistreated the prisoners, following explicit orders to shoot prisoners who could no longer walk. The SS guard shot hundreds of prisoners en route. Thousands of prisoners also died of exposure, starvation, and exhaustion. Death marches were especially common in late 44 and 45 as the Nazis attempted to transfer prisoners to camps deeper within Germany. My dad is the only one of all the 21 members that died that did not die in the gas chambers, but died on a transport on a death march from exhaustion. And we worked 6 days. I don't remember much, except I remember at night cold and soaking wet. Finally, on the 6th day, we arrived at Stam Street, the end of the arrow. We spent the night there, and the next day we started marching again. I heard thunder in the distance. Next thing I know, I saw the American tanks came rolling through. Now we knew that after 21 months of misery, we were free. And I still remember so clearly one of the tanks coming around the corner and taking part of the building down. It was the 90th Infantry Division that liberated us. This was the doctor. They were very good to us. They gave us American uniforms. Seeing how skinny we were, the soldiers gave us their rations. They taught me English. I became the translator. They had AP camps because many people from Eastern Europe couldn't go back to Poland, Lithuania, and all these countries, and they had to put them in camps because they were afraid of retaliation. And that's true because how I got involved, I don't know, but a couple of us got a horse and buggy and we raided a German farm. People asked me, what do you contribute your survival to? Well, first of all, and that goes for the students today, don't give up hope. If you give up hope, you're lost. School doesn't go good 1 day or 2 days, it'll get better. You give up hope, you're lost. Also, don't be a bystander. Speak up. First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I wasn't a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. Martin Niemöller, he spent 8 years in concentration camp. Don't be a bystander, speak up. Otherwise someday it's going to happen to you and there's nobody left to speak up for you.